Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome back to some more Let's Play Splatoon. Today, we're going to go over all of the multiplayer stuff that you need to know jumping into Splatoon for the first time. So, starting off, I want to go ahead and just take a little tour around Inkopolis here, because in the very beginning of the game, we got a little sneak peek of basically what we're going to be doing for the multiplayer with some introductions. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and take a look around at the different shops here. So to our left here, we have 4 different shops that we can go ahead and interact with. So we're going to go into this one here in the far left and work our way over. So this store right here is our footwear shop. So the gear you can go ahead and put on your character here not only affects you personality wise by making it look different obviously, but it gives you different attributes. So as you can see, I'm actually wearing these sneakers right now that you can go ahead and buy, the Banana Basics. And they have different abilities. Well, we take a look at what each of these abilities will do here in just a bit. But you can go ahead and buy different pairs of shoes, and as you can see, they all have different attributes to them, and a different number of attributes as well. They're also different brands, but the brands really don't matter, to be honest, in terms of stats. It's their equipment that mainly matters. You can go ahead and try things on by pressing the R button, and you gotta take a look at how they look on your character before buying them, but it really doesn't change that much. Then you can go ahead and take a look at your shirts, which once again, you can go ahead and put on before you buy. Take a look at how they fit your character and all that. So if you're into mainly how stuff looks and not just how it performs, you can go ahead and just basically pick it out by how it looks on your character. And again, you can go ahead and do the same thing with hats. And there are so many different pieces of gear in the game, I honestly can't show them all off. There's just that much you can go ahead and use for your character. It's ridiculous. And now over to the main attraction, the weapons. Sheldon here actually has some weapons we can go ahead and buy, because over the course of Splatoon, there were many updates to the game, and a lot of those updates added new weapons. And at this point, I haven't claimed the latest set of weapons that Sheldon has to offer, which is his own specialty of weapons. So we can go ahead and have a good rundown of every single weapon when we first come into the store when it's available. He'll tell us mainly what the weapon does, what type it is, what kind of sub-weapons it has, what kind of special it gives you, all that good stuff. And there's a lot of different things we can go ahead and pick up here, because like I said, I haven't bought any weapons in a long time. But really, I don't need to worry about how much money I have to buy these weapons, because as you can see, I have a lot of money, because I played a lot of the multiplayer mode in Splatoon ever since it came out, so I have more than enough funds to buy every single weapon here. But in case you can't buy these weapons, just like the gear, you can go ahead and try these weapons out. And there's a lot of different weapons that you want to go ahead and try out before you buy, because some of these weapons, it's going to be a personal preference if you want to play with them. Some of them will actually handle different because they'll have different stats, so you actually want to see if that weapon is better than its other variety before you just purchase it randomly. And their special slash sub weapons are another thing you want to take in mind too, because you might have a really good gun, but you might have a bomb type that you're not a fan of. So you want to make sure you go ahead and try out these weapons before you buy them, especially if you don't have that much money on hand to buy said weapons. There is seriously a lot to go through here. Wow. This is what I get for not coming to the store for a while. But I guess while I'm doing this, I can go ahead and show off now that those blueprints that we got in single player, you can take the Sheldon here, and you can go ahead and get those blueprints transformed into weapons you can use for the multiplayer. So we got a total of 5 blueprints from the single player mode, and each of those blueprints will give us a certain weapon we can go ahead and use in said multiplayer. On screen now is what every single one of those weapons are. So you can see that every single weapon we get here is actually pretty good. And one of my favorite weapons you do get from playing through the single player and getting those blueprints. So definitely want to go ahead and collect those blueprints from the bosses. But with that said, we're pretty much done with Sheldon's explanation of all the weapons we can go ahead and buy here now. Or at least I hope we are, because holy crap, there's a lot. The last set of weapons that the game did add in were weapons that you can go ahead and buy already, but they're Sheldon based, which means these weapons are very similar to the ones we already had, but they're now with different subs and different special abilities. Even some of them have different stats, surprisingly enough. But yeah, these are pretty much every single gun that you can go ahead and get in the multiplayer mode. And unfortunately, I cannot show off every single gun in this game, because just like the gear, there are so many different options you can go ahead and choose from. It is ridiculous. So I honestly recommend, if you want to see a detailed look at what every single gun is in Splatoon, how they work, what their subs and specials are, and all that good stuff, check out Chugga Conroy's Let's Play Splatoon. It recently just finished up, and he goes over in detail every single weapon, what stuff is good to use with them, so what kind of gear you want to go ahead and use in combination, and basically just goes over every single thing you'll need to know going into the Splatoon multiplayer. So if you want a good detailed look at things, I definitely recommend you check out that playthrough. But I'm going to go ahead and go all the way back over to the very beginning, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at one of the weapons we can go ahead and buy. And we can go ahead and try it out, so I will show that off. So we can go ahead and hit the R button to try, which doesn't really do anything special. It just transforms the gun you're holding into the one you can go ahead and buy. But you can go ahead and press the Y button to go ahead and test the weapon out. And this is a very useful mode because not only do you get to test the weapon out and see how it feels, but you can also see just how much damage it does. So you can go ahead and figure out how many shots it'll take to kill an enemy. So in this case, this splatter shot will take 3 shots to kill a normal enemy. And then if you have something bigger, it'll take a lot more shots. So there's a lot of this stuff to keep in mind. How much damage it'll do, the range, and also just how much ink consumption certain things take, like the bombs. And you can do all that stuff here in the testing area. And on the fly, you can go ahead and select from different weapons to try out. So we can go ahead and check out this dynamo roller, which is probably one of the strongest weapons in the game. But at the same time, dynamo rollers do take a very long time to fling. And we can go ahead and try out this special, which is the killer whale. And this is a special we actually did see in the single player. And as you can see, that's pretty much a one-hit KO for anything. So yeah, that's pretty much everything here we can go ahead and do for weapons. So let's just go ahead and exit. I'm not going to buy all these now just because I don't want to have everyone just watch me buy a crap ton of weapons for a while. So I'll just buy this first one just to demonstrate. There you go. You can go ahead and buy it, and right away you can choose if you want to equip the item or not. Same thing for the clothes. You can go ahead and choose right away if you want to equip that certain piece of gear, or you want to go ahead and wait until later. So let's go ahead and get out of here now, because the next thing I want to go ahead and show off, and I'll do it while standing here in the hub just so we can go ahead and just have some different music playing, is on the gamepad you can go over to a menu that's called gear, and you can see what gear you have. But you can go ahead and hit something that says an ability guide, and this tells you what basically every single ability in the game does. So unfortunately, I won't be able to show every single ability off this way because the gamepad is impossible to capture from, but I will be showing off what every single ability in the game does. So as you can see on screen now, there's a lot of different abilities, and each one has their own pluses and minuses. So something like the Ninja Squid ability, that is a really useful ability for sneaking around on your enemies, but at the same time makes you move pretty slow. Same thing for something like Run Speed Up. This really helps you move fast, but it's only good for when you're not firing. So in some cases it can be a really useful ability, while others not so much. But now with that stuff looked at, let's go ahead and continue our tour here of the Inkopolis Plaza. And first thing, I want to go ahead and head over here and talk to this big old cat. We got a reference to this cat in the single player, and his name is Judd. Talk to Judd and he'll give you tips, and he'll also give you rewards as well based on how long you played the game, by how many matches you've played and won in Turf War. So definitely come and talk to Judd if you want some good prizes. And every single time you get a specific level up, you talk to Judd as well, and he'll give you some rewards there as well. We'll be going over that stuff in more detail later. But for now, let's head down this alleyway, because in the beginning, we were told this has some sketchy stuff going on. So if we talk to this guy here, his name is Spike, we can go ahead and order gear or we can go ahead and upgrade some slots. So if we check our orders, we don't have anything ordered right now, but what I can do is I can find one of the people here in the Inkopolis Plaza, and I can actually order a piece of their gear. So if there's something here I actually really want, I can go ahead and order it. So say right here, I actually like this guy's jacket. That actually seems to be a pretty nice jacket. So I can go ahead and press the X button to order gear, and I can go ahead and order that said jacket. But do keep in mind, you can only get one item per day. You can stack up orders, but you can only receive one order each day. So keep that in mind. You're not going to be getting like 5 shirts a day. You're going to have to wait a bit. But now you can go ahead and check orders. And as you can see, the day you order something, it won't be here. So if I check back tomorrow, and by that we mean real time tomorrow. So today is Monday that I record this, so I check back on a Tuesday, and my gear will be here. But now let's go ahead and check slots. And we can go ahead and upgrade things by using one of 2 different things. We can go ahead and use some super sea snails or money in order to either add slots to something or re-roll slots on certain gear. So I'll show off both of those. So these glasses right here, they only have 1 slot. So I can go ahead and use my snails here in order to add another slot to it. So I can get some more gear perks by spending the money or by using the snails. Now, unfortunately, the sea snails were something you could only really get through Splatfest. So getting snails now isn't that easy. There's supposed to be another way to get the snails, and I heard that you play the game for a certain amount of time, like you play a certain amount of matches, you'll get them, but I haven't really heard that confirmed. So your mileage may vary on that one, but if you don't have any snails, it will cost you 30,000 gold to add a slot or to re-roll slots on your gear. So say right here, this, I don't really like this gas mask. This gas mask doesn't really have that good of equipment on it. So I can go ahead and spend a snail and re-roll it. Now let's see what I can get. That's not that bad. A run speed up, a bomb throw up, and then the special special stager. What? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm confused, but we get some special saver. That's not too bad. So that seems to be a better mask now overall, but that's what you can also do with your snails and money. So that's Spike for you. He's actually a very useful person to talk to, especially if you're that competitive of a Splatoon player and want to get different gear. So yeah, definitely want to talk to him. Now, up here, I just want to go ahead and show this off. It's not very multiplayer mode, but you can actually see Callie and Marie up here. And they're talking to each other, but if you stare at them long enough, they'll notice you and wave. So just give them a moment, and there they are, ladies. But yeah, that's that. And obviously up here, you go into this main tower, and you'll play all your multiplayer modes, but we won't be doing that just yet. There is one last thing I want to go ahead and show off, and that is this little thing here in the corner. This little arcade machine you can go ahead and interact with, and you can go ahead and play one of 4 different games on your gamepad. The Squid Jump, Squid Ball, Squid Racer, and Squid Beats. All 4 of these games you can go ahead and play while waiting for a multiplayer game to start online, but all of it is played on your gamepad. So unfortunately, this footage I'm going to be showing off isn't going to be the cleanest footage out there. So Squid Jump, we're just going to take a look at these games really quick. There's not really too much to them, but Squid Jump, this game is basically just a endless jumping style game, as I want to call it. This game does have an end, but your goal is just to jump until you reach the highest point of level, and then it'll put you to the next level. So it's a pretty fun distraction. I will say that. I haven't beaten any of these games per se, but it is a fun thing to mess around with nonetheless. The next game we can go ahead and play is Squid Ball, and as the name implies, it's basically volleyball. So you go ahead and knock around this duck, and doing so, you basically just want to try to get as many points as you can. It's not really a game I've really played that much, to be honest, But it does seem to be, just like the squid jump game, a fun little distraction while you're waiting for the next multiplayer game to start. So it's here for you to play nonetheless, and it is a good time. Next up is Squid Racer. So in this game, you're racing a bunch of squids to the finish line, and it kind of reminds me of some old racing games on the NES because it's just a straight path basically, or a curved path depending on what the track is, but it's just like this flat design track that you can go ahead and race on, and it's a fun little game to be honest. It's not really something I go back to play as often because I don't really play that many of the games on the gamepad while waiting for a multiplayer game to start up. But I will say this is probably one of the more interesting games to play while waiting around. So, yeah, this one's pretty fun. Now, the last thing to look at is Squid Beats. Now, this one really isn't that much of a game and more like a sound test. So, we can go ahead and play some music on here while we're waiting for the lobby to start up. And it's a really, really useful thing to have, because when you're waiting around a lobby for too long, you want to go ahead and play different music. You don't just want to be sitting there hearing the same theme over and over again. So Squid Beats allows you to listen to some different tunes, and it's a lot of fun just to sit there in a lobby and actually hear something that's not the standard lobby music. So I definitely recommend playing this one from time to time while waiting around. But I do want to mention the Squid Ball, Squid Racer, and Squid Beats modes here on the gamepad. These are only games that you can go ahead and play with the amiibo challenges beaten. So Squid Ball, you have to go ahead and beat a certain level for the Squid Girl. Squid Racer, you have to be a certain level for the Squid Boy. And then Squid Beats, you have to do the same thing for the Squid Amiibo. So you do have to have the amiibos in order to play their amiibo challenges in order to unlock these different games for your gamepad. But once you do so, you'll go ahead and have a different selection of things you can go ahead and do while waiting for a multiplayer game to start. But now with all that stuff looked at, we pretty much covered everything I wanted to go ahead and show off for now. So the last thing we're going to go ahead and do is walk around and look at Miiverse here, because when you're connected online, you can go ahead and see different players here and interact with them by ordering gear and also reading their Miiverse posts. So we can see what everyone's been talking about here on Miiverse for Splatoon. And there's a lot of different things you can go ahead and see. You have some people asking about some different game tips or asking to play with them. You have like basically talk about anything going on in the Splatoon community. Like right now, the biggest talk is Splatoon 2, the sequel that is coming out on the Nintendo Switch later this year, which I am really looking forward to. I've already pre-ordered on Nintendo Switch just because of Splatoon 2. That's how much I enjoy this game. I can't wait to play its sequel. It's going to be so good. But if you want to go ahead and post a Miiverse, you can go to this box and just post a comment right away. So yeah, it's simple as that. If you want to go ahead and just post right to the Miiverse community and then pop up here with your own post in the plaza. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go ahead and look at. So with that all said, next time we meet here in Splatoon, we're going to start our multiplayer journey with the local multiplayer. That's right. Online multiplayer isn't the only thing Splatoon has to offer. There is a one-on-one battle mode that you can go ahead and do here in Splatoon, and we'll be covering that next time. So with that said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.